What's up, guys? It's Michaela. This is my educational resource on magnesium. So here's my presentation, and I'll just do a little bit of a lecture. I'll try to keep it below 15 minutes. 10 would be great. So magnesium, a little introduction. Magnesium is a mineral that's extremely abundant in the body. Extremely abundant. Its functions are it's a cofactor in more than 300 enzyme systems. It can regulate protein synthesis, chemical reactions, muscle and nerve function, blood pressure, and blood glucose. So it obviously has a lot of functions, and it's super important. It not only contributes to the structural development of bone, but it's also required for energy production, and you can see it's used in oxidative phosphorylation and glycolysis, both of which we've talked about. Obviously, both are ATP producing, and that's how we live. So super important. Where is magnesium found? Approximately 25 grams of it can be found in the human body at all times, with 50 to 60% of it being found in bone. The rest of the magnesium is found in soft tissue, and less than 1% of the total magnesium in the body is present in blood serum. So of that 1% present in the blood serum, 60% of it is free, and the remainder, so around 33%, is bound to proteins such as citrate, bicarbonate, ATP, and phosphate. At the cellular level, magnesium is super compartmentalized within the nucleus, endoplasmic or sarcoplasmic reticulum, mitochondria, and cytoplasm, and you'll see that when I go through the metabolism. You can see my references in the bottom right. How to assess for magnesium? To assess for magnesium, the most common biomarker is serum magnesium levels, but as you just heard, that's only 1% of the total magnesium in the body, so it's not a very accurate representation, and it can be affected by a lot of different factors, such as age, sex, diurnal variation, pregnancy, renal function, all of those things. Magnesium levels can also be measured through erythrocytes, leukocytes, and urine, but they're even less accurate, and so they're not used very much. And the the Nutrition Focused Physical Exam, NFPA, they can do functional tests to assess for magnesium and whether it's deficient, toxicity, or just like the appropriate amount. And what they do is they observe the nails, muscular function, and mental health, and that can kind of attest to the magnesium intake in the body. But clinical and laboratory tests are required to comprehensively evaluate the magnesium status. So you kind of have to combine the blood serum test with the nutrition focused physical exam in order to come up with anything reasonable. You see this little picture of the dry brittle nail. That is just one example of a magnesium deficiency, but I'll get more into that later. So where do we actually find magnesium? The key sources, magnesium can be found in a variety of foods, but it's very predominant in green leafy vegetables, as well as legumes, nuts, seeds. On this next slide, you can see the amount of magnesium per serving. That's supposed to be mg, magnesium per serving. So pumpkin seeds, 168 milligrams of magnesium per serving of pumpkin seeds. And that actually has the most. Almonds and spinach can also have a lot, presenting around 19% of the dietary value that you need. You can also get it in fortified breakfast cereals or bottled waters, like mineral bottled waters. But you can see that's not a whole lot for magnesium. It's been shown that 30 to 40% of magnesium consumed, if you guys see mg, I guess this is a little confusing because it could be milligrams, but for the majority of the rest of the presentation, it's going to be mg, stands for magnesium. So 30 to 40% of it consumed through diet is absorbed. Magnesium supplement digestion and absorption have been widely researched, and magnesium in the form of aspartate, citrate, or lactate is going to be more easily digested and absorbed than magnesium in the form of magnesium sulfate. and high doses of zinc interfere with magnesium absorption. So that was just a couple studies done on supplements, but 30 to 40% of the magnesium consumed through diet is absorbed. So now getting into the metabolism, this entire big thing is magnesium in the liver cell, so a hepatocyte. And like I said, it's a cofactor for many enzymes involved in energy metabolism, glycolysis, Krebs cycle. So this right here is magnesium and how it's affected or affects glucose homeostasis. So just kind of going off of, here's the cell membrane. I don't know if y'all can see my mouse, but the cell membrane's at the top. Magnesium is in red, and then it points to everything that it affects. So if you go into the middle, that is all the cytoplasm, okay? So in the cytoplasm, magnesium regulates glucokinase and glycolytic enzymes and also ATP utilization. So you can see the arrow going to glucokinase as well as glycolysis within the cytoplasm. If you go to the mitochondria, which is down towards the bottom, you can see that magnesium regulates mitochondrial dehydrogenases and PHD, which is pyruvate dehydrogenase phosphatase. So it promotes the activity of PDH, I believe, which will help convert pyruvate to acetyl-CoA, which can lead to more beta oxidation. So that's what magnesium does. In the endoplasmic reticulum, which you can see is the circle to the right, magnesium regulates protein synthesis and the entry of G6P or glucose 6-phosphate. You can see that the little line that showing that it can inhibit or limit how much G6P is brought into the endoplasmic reticulum. Excuse me. And what that does is G6P is just used for more energy. I'm not actually really sure what it's used for in the endoplasmic reticulum. It's used for metabolic processes, including fatty acid synthesis and cholesterol synthesis. So that's what it's doing in the ER. So magnesium is just a regulator of G6P right there. So that's just like a short and sweet version of how magnesium can affect glucose homeostasis. Obviously, all of these processes that it's affecting use glucose in some form to produce ATP, so magnesium is a big regulator of that. Moving on to the second part, magnesium and vitamin D absorption. So magnesium plays a critical role in the synthesis and metabolism of parathyroid hormone and vitamin D. Vitamin D is just used to help your body absorb calcium and maintain strong bones. So you can see at the top of this little chart, it's basically talking about how vitamin D is either brought in from dietary sources or through the sunlight, and it goes down, and then it's really hard to see, but you can see in a little circle it says Mg, which is magnesium, obviously. And the first time you see magnesium from the sunlight and skin synthesis is binding to VDBP. VDBP is just vitamin D binding protein, so magnesium can kind of like regulate how much vitamin D binding protein there is, or the actual binding process. The second time you see magnesium is in the liver, and it shows that it's affecting 25-hydroxylase. 25-hydroxylase is just, it produces a pre-hormone, which you can see is this 25-OHD. 25-OHD is also called calcifediol. I just know that it's some sort of hormone that is used to determine vitamin D status. So I couldn't quite figure out this part of it. Circulating 25-OHD will bind to VDBP and then eventually will produce some sort of vitamin D. I'm actually not really sure about this part of the metabolism. I think I expressed that on our live class, is that this one was a little bit confusing, but you can see that magnesium does play a huge role, even down here in the parathyroid hormone. When you get to the kidney, parathyroid hormone is just used to promote calcium reabsorption in the kidneys, and so vitamin D wants to hold on to calcium. So by magnesium helping to secrete parathyroid hormone, it is also simultaneously getting calcium to be reabsorbed in the kidneys. And it does that through the process of this 1A hydroxylase. Yeah. So that's just two metabolic processes from magnesium, but there was a bunch more. As you can see, magnesium is super important, and it, like I said, it's a cofactor for more than 300 enzymatic reactions. So the new research with magnesium, what new areas of research have involved magnesium? A lot of it has been dealing with mental health, so that's what I focused on. I did not go in depth on any of these, or obviously I went in depth on the studies when I looked at them, but I just summarized them all for you. So here's a summary of magnesium and depression, and these are all recent, so 2016, 13, and 17. Magnesium and depression by Serafko found that magnesium supplementation enhances the efficacy of conventional antidepressant treatment. So if you're on antidepressants, taking magnesium can help enhance the efficacy or how those antidepressants work. The second study by the same Serafko, magnesium treatment improved the symptoms of depression in both chronic fatigue syndrome and women with PMS, which is super cool. I was unaware of that. But yeah, this last study, role of magnesium supplementation in the treatment of depression by Tarleton, found that magnesium is effective for mild to moderate depression in adults. It works quickly and is well tolerated without the need for close monitoring for toxicity. So this was just saying that magnesium is a nice alternative, and it does work. Moving on to magnesium in the brain. This is just one study done on magnesium supplementation in children with ADHD. And it said that magnesium supplementation improved hyperactivity and impulsivity of kids with ADHD, as well as an improved cognitive function score. This was done by Farida, 2016. Super cool study. I was very unaware of the effects that magnesium could have on kids with ADHD, but I think this is a great up-and-coming research area, especially because my niece has ADHD and I know how much it can affect a lot of areas of your life. And the way that they found improvements with this study was just through tests. So they had kids with ADHD take these tests, and then magnesium supplement was given to them, and then they took the tests again. The second study, the effects of magnesium supplementation on subjective anxiety and stress. Magnesium intake has benefits for individuals with pre-existing mild to moderate levels of anxiety. So this is just showing there's some efficacy for magnesium supplement. Magnesium supplementation with anxiety. So the recommended dietary allowance, 400 mg for men 19 to 30, 420 for above 31, 310, and 320 as you can see for women. Generally, it's recommended that you get 40 more milligrams of magnesium if you are pregnant. So if you are 19 to 30, you would need 350 milligrams. When it comes to deficiency and toxicity, you can see over here, deficiency is uncommon in healthy individuals because the kidneys will regulate magnesium in the body by excreting it in urine or reabsorbing it. Same goes for toxicity, is that it can kind of choose how much it's holding on to for magnesium or how much it gets rid of. Signs of deficiency include loss of appetite, nausea, fatigue, vomiting, numbness, tingling, abnormal heart rhythms, and seizures. Populations at greater risk for deficiency are individuals with GI disease because they won't absorb it properly, type 2 diabetes, and older adults. When it comes to toxicity, it usually develops after serum concentrations exceed 1.74 to 2.6 millimoles per liter. High doses of magnesium can result in diarrhea or cramping. Those are pretty much the only signs. And individuals at risk for toxicity are those with impaired renal or kidney function, which makes sense. If you can't get rid of the magnesium, then it can become toxic. So practical applications. Magnesium is responsible for numerous bodily functions, including regulating calcium and potassium levels, glucose homeostasis, vasodilation properties for blood pressure stability, supporting bone and muscle health, as well as promoting energy through those glycolytic pathways. In any healthcare professional should be well versed on magnesium intake values and promote a colorful or nutrient-dense diet, because that's how you're going to get magnesium, is making sure you are having a variety of fruits and vegetables, as well as some nuts, maybe some pumpkin seeds sprinkled in there. But as you can see, there's a lot of functionality to magnesium, and it's important to make sure we are consuming enough, but not too much. And magnesium is super cool, and these are my references. Thank you all for listening. I hope you have a great day.